Guys, if I was a Man United fan, I'd want to seek psychiatric help as soon as possible. If I was a die-hard fan, like I've been watching United since like Rooney, since like Ronaldo, Tevez, Berbatov, all these guys back in the day, right? I'd want to seek psychiatric help because this club doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't make sense to me. How could you go from losing to Grimsby Town to then going to Anfield and beating Liverpool and then losing to Everton at home when they have 10 men to then beating Crystal Palace away, one of the most informed teams in the Premier League right now, and at a ground, Selhurst Park, where you haven't won in God knows how many years, to then having the opportunity to go fifth in the table above Chelsea, above Liverpool, above all these teams. Actually, I don't know if it's above Chelsea, but you get the point. And then drawing to West Ham, relegation. West Ham at home with an unconvincing performance. It doesn't make sense. This club actually puts me in like a mind boggle. Like it hurts my brain when I think about it because it doesn't make sense. And I'm not even a United fan, but it's just funny. Honestly, it's funny. Today I tuned into Man United versus West Ham, and we're already like 4 months into the season or so. So it's about time, United start picking up the pace, I feel, because of their expectation, because of Amorim has had a full transfer window. There's been a couple ups and downs this season, so I figured, what, let me tune in because I really want to see if there's any improvement from last year, if there's any improvement with Amorim ball whatsoever. Wow. Those 90 minutes, I wish I had them back. I wish I had them back. This team under Amorim won't succeed. They just won't succeed whatsoever. Like, I don't really know how to explain it because I think United do have good players. They've made good signings. I feel like a 3-back formation isn't the worst if it's used right. It can be very, very effective. They have good players, like I said, but still, like, there's just something about the way these guys play that just doesn't seem sustainable or convincing whatsoever. And it's not even like, this is like the 3rd or 4th game this season. This has been like this for a year. We've seen the same methodical football, the same mistakes, the same, points of errors in this United squad for over a year now under Amorim. So in my head, I'm like, you've had a year, you've had a full transfer window to yourself, but we're not able to see any sort of improvement. The only improvement is the fact that they're not sitting in 16th right now. They're sitting in the top 10. That's an improvement for sure. Big improvement, fair enough. But that's not where they should be. Comparing the squads United have to other squads in the Premier League, if you compare this squad to Brighton's squad or Villa's squad, you could even argue, Palace's squad, a lot of these players are better than those players, but yet they still sit below them in the Premier League. And it doesn't make sense. And I think that's one of the biggest points of criticism Amorim is getting right now. Besides the football being played on the pitch, the fact that they have a squad that's not fulfilling their potential in terms of where they should be on the table, that is concerning. And you could even tell with the performance in the first half. West Ham gave it to them in the first half. They really put up a good fight in the first half, I thought. They at times, United really couldn't build that from the back. They still struggle to create chances centrally. They're always being forced out wide. It's like it's a constant theme. You have Ahmad, you have Dalot, sometimes you have Dorgu, sometimes you have Mazraoui. Whoever it is, they always try to penetrate with their wingers or wingbacks or whatever the system is, and it just doesn't work. It really just doesn't work. Ahmad, to be fair today, actually had a really good game. I thought he was probably United's best player in terms of threatening and actually creating chances. But I think the real struggle for them really lies centrally. They're not able to create anything centrally through the middle. They're always going out wide and they're always putting in crosses or hoofing the ball into the box when there's no big striker. And yes, I know they're missing Sesko. Sesko is a huge, project aspect for this United team. But still, you have to be able to, adapt. You're against relegation, West Ham. You have to be able to comfortably beat them with the squad you have. This is a struggling West Ham team. Some of the players might be good. I thought Bowen actually had a decent game today. Gave that United back three so much trouble. I thought Wan-Bissaka, fantastic today. First and second half, I thought he's brilliant. He low-key should have been sent off though, but that doesn't really matter at the moment. When West Ham are playing Thomas Souček as their right winger, come on, man. You know that team is down bad. West Ham are down bad when they play Thomas Souček on the right. Come on, man. It's games like this where it really brings down the image and reputation of the Premier League and the quality of football being played this season. Because Man United, the biggest club in the country to some people, should be playing good football. Should be playing, teams like West Ham, relegation teams, out of the park. They should be winning this game comfortably, but yet we still see the same mistakes. And that's why I don't think United will succeed ever under RUBEN Amorim. And I don't think it's, really down to the players. Because at the end, the tactics, the way they play football, the way these players are profiled and positioned into the style of play or whatever, that comes down to the manager. That comes down to Ruben Amorim. And it's not only the fact that, his tactics from the first minute till minute 90 don't work. It's also the small things. It's the in-game substitutions. How many times have we seen Ugarte come on for Casemiro or Bruno? United were chasing a last-minute goal to win this game. It was 1-1 in like the 83rd minute when Magasa scored the equalizer. They were chasing a last-minute goal, and Ruben Amorim has... Who did he have on the bench? Ruben Amorim had Mason Mount, Ugarte, Dorgu, Lenny Yoro, Lissandro Martinez, Kobbie Mainoo, a 19-year-old attacker, and Malacia. But instead, Ruben Amorim brings on Lenny Yoro at halftime, fair, because Heaven had a yellow. Dorgu for Dallo. When Dallo scored the goal, the only goal that United scored this game, and he was one of the best players on the pitch. How does that make any sense? Okay, he then brings on Ugarte. Guys, I have watched many United games this season. I've watched some last season as well. Every time Manuel Ugarte comes on the pitch, I can't see anything right that he does. I can't see one thing that he actually contributes to this team's success. Not one. And I have nothing against Ugarte. But in terms of the way Amorim deploys him, in terms of what he actually adds as value to the team when he's playing on the pitch, I can't see it. I really can't see it. I really don't understand why Amorim doesn't use Kobbie Mainoo. I don't. When you're chasing a goal especially, why do you bring on Ugarte? Why do you bring on another defender? Why don't you bring on that, like the 19... I don't even know who Shea Lacey is, bro. Bring on the attacker. Any top coach would have the balls to take the risk of bringing on an attacker, whether he's 15, whether he's 12, whether he's 5, bro. He will always provide some sort of attacking threat more so than a defender. It's common sense. So I don't understand why Amorim keeps making these same mistakes over and over again, because it's decisions like this that really just bring his reputation down, but also bring United down as a club. Because we are seeing so many pieces of evidence now where Amorim is really just tactically inept. And to be fair, there are a couple things that Amorim does do right in a game. I'm not trying to completely shit on him, even though I do think a lot of what he does, I do disagree with personally. But there are things that you can see with the naked eye. You can blatantly see week in, week out. But he's so stubborn to make the same decisions, and it just doesn't end up working out. So, I thought the way he deployed Mazraoui today was great. He played really good at right centre-back. Like I said, Ahmad was brilliant today. So there are a couple of things that he does do right. The way he brought in Lamens was good. He's a good keeper. There are so many things that he does wrong. And I often see these comparisons between Amorim and Slot this season. Slot has had like 500 million to work with. Amorim has only had like 200 million, and the quality of squads, is obviously so different. But you can't really compare the two. You really can't, in my opinion, because it's two different contexts. It's like taking a dog for a walk with a leash and taking a dog for a walk without a leash. Like, you can't really compare the two clubs and their managerial context because there's so much history behind it. And I'm not even going to talk about the goals, because Dallo's goal today was just pure luck. It was pure luck. It deflected. It landed on a plate, on a silver plate, a golden plate with a nice steak and potatoes on it for him to finish. Like, I could have finished that. And the corner they concede was just like bad defending, There's no urgency to clear the ball. No one really wanted to get ahead of the ball. I thought Mazraoui's clearance on the line was actually really good. But again, it's the second balls that they kept losing. And I watched Amorim's press conference after the game. This guy was complaining about how United never won second balls, which is why he brought on Ugarte and, these defenders and stuff. But it's not like they were any better after they brought them on. You know what I mean? It's not like when they brought on Ugarte and Martinez, they dramatically changed the whole physical aspect of the game. They didn't. It was the same 10, 20 minutes after than what it was 80 minutes before. I'm sure any manager with 10 minutes to go, it's 1-1 on the scoreline, you have to bring on an attacker. If you're Manchester United, the biggest club in the country to some people, and you're playing against a relegation West Ham, you have to bring on an attacker. You have to. Xerxes today, he was useless. As tall as he is, as big of a figure he is in the box, he's not Sesko. He's not going to hold the ball down, win headers, win duels. He's not. So I'm just really trying to understand why Amorim keeps playing the way he does. There's no sense of adaptability. There's no sense of change. There's no urgency of change with him. So I don't know, man. I don't know. If I was a United fan, like I said, I'd be just disappointed. I'd seek psychiatric help because of the fixtures and the results that have happened in the past couple games, how it just doesn't make sense to any neutral fan or anything. So yeah, I think there are, a lot of questions to be asked about Amorim, a lot of questions to be asked about, the way he plays his game. But with the upcoming fixtures now, they've just drawn to West Ham. at home. Relegation West Ham. Like I've said so many times in this video, I promise you, if Man United lose to Wolverhampton Wanderers, if they lose to Wolves next, if you give Wolves, the team that will probably end up being the worst Premier League team of all time, if Amorim gives them their first win, guys, the proof's in the pudding, man. The proof's in the pudding with this guy, bro. I don't even know what to say. Anyways, like, share, subscribe. Hope you guys did enjoy the video. All socials are linked below. This is a bit of a quick one, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.